Hi everyone, my name is Nell, Miss Nell, and I want to introduce you to the kind of modules that we'll have in stats. So I'm going to share my screen. And I almost asked if you could see my screen, but of course you're virtual. So, and I want to make this bigger. All right, so you can see my dashboard. I'm in Canvas and I'm selecting our class. And the first time that you go to our landing page, which is what I call our home page, you have to click on Start Here. Oh, I can make my cursor better. Let's see. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, now can you see my cursor? Awesome. So you have to click Start Here the first time that you go into the landing page, into our Canvas site. After that, you can use the module click, and that's what we're going to do. But I want to show you what happens if you click Start Here. You get all these pages that the computer wants you to go through, and some of them are just information you'll never use, but some of them, like how to get our course material, what you're expected to do, the netiquette, anything you do online, support services for any of the colleges, and then a lot of San Antonio College specific services, all the tutoring things that are available, loads of other resources. If you need a laptop or you need a hotspot, and loads of other things that are available. And then tech support. And this also, all the colleges are listed here. And now I'm going to choose modules. You've already done this Module 0, Week 1, and most of you have completed it. I'm going to go into Module 1 and click on Overview. The overview shows us the 6 sections that are in Chapter 1. The one that we're going to do on our lesson today is Statistics, Probability, and Key Terms. Then we're going to do Data Sampling, Frequency, Experimental Design, Data Collection, and Sampling Experiment. The learning objectives, and we call these SLOs, Course SLOs, Student Learning Objectives. The one that is on this chapter is Explain the Use of Data Collection and Statistics as Tools to Teach Reasonable Conclusions. The Chapter 1 objectives, in addition to that, are to describe the range of applications to stats, identify situations in which statistics can be misleading, define statistics, and learn the basic definitions used in statistics and some of its key concepts. Now we're coming to the part which is really the reason I'm making this little video. In order to do everything in our class, you need a notebook. Now that notebook can be a spiral notebook. It can be a 3-ring binder with paper, loose leaf paper. It can be a Word document online. It can be, I heard a student say that she had a reusable notebook. That's fine too. It has to be something where you can either take a photograph of the page or you can upload a file, because everything we do is going to be in that notebook. I want you to keep that notebook for the whole semester. So, as it says here, it can be a physical 3-ring binder, or a spiral notebook, or an electronic Word file, anything so that you can keep records neatly and find them later when you need them. So the things we're going to do in our notebook, we're going to keep important terms. All of the homework problems are going to be worked there, and we want to be able to refer back to terms, notes, and any homework for exams. Assignment 1 is what we're about to look at, and that is due Friday, this coming Friday, at midnight. That's the 28th of January. And for each assignment that we do in general, I want you to read the page and take notes. And I'll show you just a minute when we look at the actual assignment what I mean by taking notes. I want you to work through the examples, watch any videos, pay special attention to the terms that are defined, and In your notebook, answer each of the on your own questions. Those questions are going to be your homework. So let's click next and go to the actual assignment. So here it is, assignment 1, Introduction to Statistics. And I want to make it look more like it will look for y'all. Okay, so we've got assignment 1, Introduction to Statistics. It'll take about an hour and 30 minutes to do this assignment. And I repeated all of the instructions that are on the previous page. So I want you to read the page carefully, write down the terms, describe the image below, describe all of these things in your notebook, and especially the on your own questions. The course learning objectives we already talked about, and this is a lovely quote. Statistical thinking will one day be as necessary a qualification for efficient citizenship as the ability to read and write. That was Samuel Wilkes in 1951, paraphrasing H.G. Wells from Wilkes's book, Mankind in the Making. So our first assignment is all about what statistics are or is. Some people say plural, some singular. We're going to define in this lesson population, sample, and some people will actually be wanting a random sample, but sample, parameter, statistic, variable, and data. These two paragraphs, the first one on statistics and the second one on probability, I want you to read through so that you have an overview of what we're about to do in the class. But here are this is the important part. The key terms: population, sample, parameter, statistics, variable, and data. And here's a really cool graphic that is called the Golden Picture of Statistics that really summarizes everything. A population is the whole set. Like if you're studying all of the students at SAC, then that would be your population. The sample is just part of the whole population that you're actually going to get the data from. Parameter is a value that you care about from the population. Like say you're going to study GPAs, and the goal is to get an idea of the GPA of an average student at SAC. That overall answer is a parameter. But what you have to do is take a sample of those people, because you can't really get all of that information from everyone. You're going to take a sample, and the information you get from the sample is data, and from that data you're going to get statistics. So a sample has statistics and data. A population has parameters and variables. Also, these symbols, this one is mu, this one is sigma, we're not going to use those in our class. So I wanted you to see mu is that symbol, it's a Greek M, and sigma is a Greek S, both lowercase. The key thing is that this visual is worth it, even without knowing all of the symbols. This is a nice little short video I want you to watch. And then here's how our lessons are going to go. Here's example 1 with the solution. And then here's on your own, number 1. So you're going to, let's just do these first two. So example 1, identify each of the following data sets as either a population or a sample. The grade point averages of all the students at a college. It's all the students, so what do you think? Excellent. Population. The GPAs of a randomly selected group of students. Yes, of course, that's a sample. The ages of the 9 Supreme Court justices. How many Supreme Court justices are there right now? 9. So if we're talking about all of them, that would be the population. The gender of every second customer who enters a movie theater. Well, since we're not talking about the whole group, of people who enter the movie theater, but just every other, then that's a sample. The links of the Gulf fish caught on a recent fishing trip, well, we're not getting all of the links of all the fish, but just some, so that's a sample. These are the questions I want you to tell me. Is this description going to be a population or a sample? So the advertisements for all IT jobs in San Antonio. What do y'all think? Population or sample? Everyone who's watching this video will get a little extra. This is definitely a population. It's all of them. The top 50 search results for IT jobs in San Antonio. Well, if it's just the top 50, that tells you that must be a sample. The winning song from the Grammy Awards. Well, it's just one song, or even the winning songs is not all songs. So this is a sample. Number 4 is all the songs ever written. That kind of gives itself away, but that's definitely a population. Number 5, all the countries in the world. Well, we can't get bigger, so that's a population. And then number 6, 300 undergraduate students from the Alamo colleges who volunteer at the San Antonio Food Bank. Of course, that's a sample. Let's go do one more. So the second example, we want to identify not just population and sample, we want to identify the population, the sample, the parameter, the statistic, the variable, and the data. Which item is which? And let's go back and remember. A parameter describes the entire population. A statistic describes the sample. A variable describes a characteristic of the population. Data describes a characteristic of the sample. So we're going to remember that. A sample is a part of the population. A parameter describes the entire population. A variable describes a characteristic of that population. A sample is part of the population. A statistic describes the data from the sample. And the data describes a characteristic of the sample. Okay. So again, we're trying to see in this little blurb, what is the population, the sample, the parameter, the statistic, the variable, and the data. Okay, we want to know the mean or average amount of money first-year college students spend at SAC on school supplies that don't involve books. We're going to randomly select or randomly sample 100 first-year students at SAC. 3 sample students spent $150, $200, and $225 respectively. Well, the population is all first-year students at SAC. So there it is, the population, all first-year students at SAC. What is the sample? Right here, what is the sample? Excellent. The 100 students that we're choosing. So the sample is the 100 students that we're going to get information on. Let's see now, parameter. Okay, parameters from a population. Okay. What information are they telling us about the population? Oh, we want to know the amount of money. The parameter is the average amount of money spent on everything besides books for first-year college students. When it's a sample, we call it a statistic. And that is coming just from the sample. So this statistic in this case is the average amount of money spent by one first-year college student. Variables come from population. So variable, population, parameter. Those go together. Sample, statistic, data. Those go together. So our statistic is the average amount of money spent by a first-year college student at SAC, not counting the books. The variable is the amount of money spent. The data, examples of data are $150, $200, and $225. Well, let's do this one. So we want to identify in this blurb What is the population? What is the sample? What is the parameter? What is a statistic? What is a variable? And what is the data? We want to know the average amount of money spent on school lunches each year by families with children in San Antonio area schools. We're going to randomly survey 100 families with children in elementary school. And I think I did these, I made up amounts not for the year, but for per lunch. So these three families spent $250, $475, and $385 for one lunch one day. So gosh, let's see. The population, okay, that's all of the children in San Antonio area elementary schools, all of them. The sample is the 100 families, the children in those families. The parameter, well, what information do we want to know about everyone? Yes, the average amount of money they spent on school lunches. The statistic is the same thing, but about the sample. So the statistic would be the amount of money spent on school lunches by the families in the sample. Our variable is the average amount of money. The data is the average amount of money in our sample, and three pieces of data are $250, $475, and $385. If we keep going, you can see that all of the problems in our homework, we have an example, a solution, and then on your own. An example, the solution, on your own. Example, solution, on your own. And then at the end, I went ahead and gave you some extra assignments, some extra problems. So let's look at one of these. Determine what the key terms population, sample, parameter, statistic, variable, and data refer to in this scenario. A researcher wishes to estimate the average amount spent per person by visitors to a theme park. She takes a random sample of 40 visitors and obtains an average of $28 per person. Okay, so what is the population? What is the whole group? Exactly, all the people who visit theme parks. And I think it's in 1 year. The sample would be the 40 visitors she's actually getting information from. Parameter and variable, remember those go with population. So the parameter is the average amount of money spent for all of the people. That means the statistic is the average amount of money spent for these 40 people. The variable is the average amount of money, and the data comes from the average amount of money from our sample. And the average data is $28. So this is a good case of a situation where it'd be very difficult to find the average amount spent for every single person who went to a state or any theme park. But we can get information about a group, and that's what we're doing. So let's look at this next one. A researcher wishes to estimate the proportion of all adults who wear a smartwatch. He takes a random sample of 1,572 adults. He finds that 598 of them own a smartwatch, and that means that 598 divided by the total 1,572, which is about 38% on a smartwatch. So, okay, the population is everyone, all of the people. The sample, his sample is 1,572 people. The parameter is the information about the whole population. And we want to know how many or what percent of people in the whole world have a smartwatch. That's the parameter. The thing we can actually find is the statistic. So of these 1,572 adults, we see that 598 of them actually do have a smartwatch. So that's our statistic. Our variable, remember variable goes with population, so our variable is whether or not they have a smartwatch, and the data is about the sample. And we see that 598 of them say yes, they do have a smartwatch. Okay, I want to keep this really short. So again, what I want you to do on this assignment, there are two big parts. The first big part is start a notebook or a Word document, something, so that you have everything organized for our class. That document needs to have a place for definitions, notes, and homework problems that you're going to take photographs of and attach to this document. See this button, Start Assignment? If I click on that, it gives me a place to upload a file. And that's what I want you to do. Take photographs of your work, or if you are doing it on a computer, then save it as a file and upload file, and you don't have to put comments. Then it'll all be available to me to grade. So that's the importance of your notebook. Then you're going to use your notebook or computer to answer all of the on your own questions with as much information as possible so I know whether or not you're understanding. And you're going to upload your photos or files on this page. The terms that we're trying to understand are population, sample, parameter, statistic, variable, and data. So you're going to read over this page. You're going to take notes, especially about these 6 words, so that you have a pretty good idea yourself of what those words mean. And up here I put that I want you to describe the image, the golden picture of statistics. So let's go down and remember what that looked like. Here it is, the golden picture of statistics. I want you to tell me what information you can get from this picture. Then next, I think it says to watch the video. Yeah, watch the short video. And then work through the examples. Don't skip those. Work through them, make sure you understand the solutions, and then do each on your own question. If you're writing by hand, please be as neat as possible, because that way it'll be easier for me to give you a good grade. If you're doing it on computer, it'll definitely be neat. But I really don't have an opinion about which is better. Whatever you like, that's what's best. And then when you finish your assignment, you're going to click Upload File. You'll select a file and enter it, and you might have 5 or 6 photos. And I'm going to leave student view. And see, you can see when it's not student view, there's a lot more information. It's going to take you about an hour and 30 minutes to do this assignment. It is due Friday, the 28th of January by midnight. Long before this assignment is due, the next one will be posted. Okay, I know that most of you, I know how I can do this. I know that most of you have sent me a text message. But here is my cell. I'm going to make it bigger. So this is Miss Nell's cell. And I want you to tell me, oops, let's see if I can make this not happen. Okay, there we go. I want you to tell me your name, your birthday, including the year, and put in there 1342, so that if later I lose information about you, I can see, oh, you were in my stats class. Okay, so I'm going to save this, make sure it looks right. Okay, so there is this little thing I want every single one of you to do. I want everyone's name in my phone and in my contacts so that if you need to get hold of me at any time, you can do that. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop this. And have a great time. Don't work too hard, but work pretty hard. And please contact me with any questions at all.